I debated how I was going to do this sermon, what I was going to do with it. And, when you look up the word Redeemer, it means the one who purchases back or buys back. To make up for is another term you can use for it. And we know, most of us know here, that Jesus is our Redeemer. But when you deal with people in the world, and some of you in this room that have not figured out yet what you're going to do with this guy, really, what is he going to be to you? I want to talk to you about some of those scenarios this morning before we get to our text. We're going to be in John chapter 8, but we're not going to go there yet. And we're going to deal with a text that you've seen and heard many times. I thought about this, and being lost and knowing you're lost is a hard place to be. There's a lot of people in the world that don't realize they're lost. They don't really care. There are people in this room. You think everything's fine. You've got a Redeemer just like you want him to be, and you're fine. And if you die today, everything's going to be good. And that could not, in some instances, could not be further from the truth. Knowing you're lost is a tough place. But knowing you can't fix the problem is even worse. Knowing that there's nothing you can do, you've tried everything and nothing works. You still feel just as desperate and depressed as you always did. And you've tried everything that the world has to offer. In our society today, there's all kinds of solutions of what to do. If I go to church regular, everything's going to be good. And I'll be happy and everything will be right as long as I go to church enough. Well, I'm going to church and I don't feel that good. So maybe if I give enough money, I'll feel better. And there's whole religions based on if you give money, God's going to bless you. And then you find out there ain't enough money to make you feel any better. Still feel lousy. Well, I know what I'll do. I'll just be a really, really good person. And I'll just be the best I can be, and that'll be enough. And God will love me and have to love me. And then you find out that doesn't work either. And so you come up with your own Redeemer. You can't come up with a let's make a deal Redeemer. If you'll do this for me, then I'll do this for you. If you do, and I did this. If you do this, then I'll go to church regular. I'll go to church all the time if you'll show me that I'm okay. My brother wore a cross around his neck. That was his safety net. He believed that if he wore that cross, and he had a cross and he had a St. Christopher, he had every base covered. If he wore them both, that everything's going to be okay. His Redeemer honored that kind of stuff. He didn't like it much when I told him that a cross around his neck was no substitute for a cross on his back. He didn't like that a bit. I told him that the real Redeemer demanded him to wear a cross on his back, not around his neck. And then there's this. Pull this picture up. You know what that is? It's in Rio de Janeiro. It's called Cristo Redentor, Christ the Redeemer. His wingspan is 63 feet. His head is 9 feet tall. People go to Rio, when they go there, they go and they sit at the base of and they worship at the base of this statue. There's a problem with this statue. You know what it is? It's got a stone heart and stone eyes. That's what it's got. So I asked myself, when I was putting this together, I remembered about this, and I said, I'm going to see if Ann can pull that picture up. And she found it for me. And I thought, all these folks in the New Testament, even some in the Old Testament, but the ones in the New Testament that saw him, do you think that would make sense to them? You think a let's make a deal Jesus would make sense to them? Or a rabbit's foot? He's going to be by lucky. Or a cross around their neck? You think that would have been good? Think about Paul, who was a killer. And on the road to Damascus, he fell on his face and said, uh-oh. It's not that guy. This guy's real. Or what about Peter? In profanity-laced tirade said, I don't know him. And then to have Jesus sit in front of him and say, feed my sheep. I forgive you. Everything's okay. You think that's what they saw? A stone heart, stone eyes? Or a let's make a deal? What about, this one didn't seem. What about Job? Job said in Job 19, he said, I know that my Redeemer lives. He didn't know who he was, but he knew. He knew in face of all the stuff that he was going through that his Redeemer was alive. You know, and you look at someone like Thomas, who was with Jesus the whole time. Whole time. And he said, I'm not going to believe any of it unless I put my hands there. I want to see it. He didn't have to put his hands on him. As soon as Jesus appeared in the room, he said, my Lord and my God. You think that's what they saw? Stone heart and stone eyes. You know, I look around this room, and I know most of you, and I know where you are, kind of where most of where you are. And I know most of you, you know that's not true. You know that's not really Jesus. You know that's not the Redeemer that you serve. You serve one who is completely different than that. Right? But there's a few in here. You've tried to make deals with God. You've tried to push aside what you know is true so it's more convenient, so it's easier. It'd be easier if I just push it off the side and we'll do it my way. That Redeemer won't save you. You'll figure out, maybe too late, that I served the wrong Redeemer. And now I wake up and it's too late. You know, I want us to turn to John chapter 8. And John chapter 8 is a story that you all know. What I want you to do for me this morning is I want you to put yourself in this scenario. Okay? We're not going to read between the lines. Well, we will some. But I want you to put yourself in the position of some of these people. All right? Well, I'm going to read it, and then we're going to go back and we're going to talk about it. Because what I do not want you to do this morning is to miss the Redeemer that this person sees and pick up one that the world sees. Because the one the world sees can't save you, won't save you. The one this one sees is the true Redeemer. In John chapter 8, it's a story about a woman caught in adultery. Okay? This woman is, we don't know much about her. We just know what the text tells us. So let's start reading. We'll start in verse 1. It says, But Jesus went to the Mount of Olives. At dawn, he appeared again in the temple courts where all the people gathered around him, and he sat down to teach them. The teachers of the law and the Pharisees brought in a woman caught in adultery. They made her stand before the group. Now I'm going to stop right here. I want you to picture this scenario. All right? It's dawn, early in the morning. They've went in and jerked this woman out of somebody's house or her own house, and they've drug her down the street, and there's a turmoil going on. People are starting to take notice. They hear what's going on. And this woman probably doesn't have a lot of clothes on, and she is being drugged down the street because they have one goal in mind. They want to catch and capture Jesus. They don't care about the woman. What I want to know is, where's the guy? The law says both of them are supposed to face the rocks. Where's the guy at? Was it one of them set her up? We don't know. What we know is put yourself, ladies, I want you to put yourself in that woman's position. Whatever the reason is, why ever you're there, maybe your husband's died, maybe he's gone, maybe there's an explanation why you had to do something like this. Maybe. And they've come drug you out, and they're dragging you down the street. You barely had enough time to grab a shawl of some kind to cover yourself. And now all these people are staring at you. You picture it? You got it? You see yourself there? How would you feel? Would you be afraid? Would you be embarrassed? Would you be angry? Or would you be all of the above? Would you feel like, uh-oh? Because you know the law. You know what the law says. You know what's going to happen. These guys have all got rocks in their hands. You're trying to look down. You can't look in anybody's faces because you're embarrassed. You're scared to death. And here you got then all these guys got these big old rocks, and you've seen it happen before. You know what happens. They're fixing to kill you. They're going to throw rocks at you and kill you. That's what they want. They want Jesus to say it's okay. That's what they want. They have every intention of killing you. And you're wondering, how in the world I get caught doing this? I was so careful. We were so careful. How did this happen? And then you start to figure out, man, I got set up. Somebody set me up. All of these are scenarios. I don't know what happened here. I have no idea. But I know that we have to come to some understanding of what's going on with her. What would be going on with her if it was you? How would you feel? And then he said, the teachers of the law and the Pharisees brought a woman caught in adultery. They made her stand before the group and said to Jesus, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. In the law of Moses commanded us to stone such women. Now what do you say? What do you say? What are you going to tell us? What are we going to do?" They wanted to catch him. They were using this question as a trap in order to have a basis for accusing him. In John chapter 5, we're not going to go there, but in John chapter 5, he claimed to be the Son of God, and from that moment on, they were going to try to find a way to kill him. Because it was blasphemy, what he said. And here's this woman. Jesus bends down and he's doodling in the dirt. I always wondered, what did he write? I wonder what he was writing in the dirt. Or did he just doodle in the dirt to distract the attention away from her into the dirt? I don't know. But I know for the people involved, this is horrendous. And he says, but Jesus bent down and started to write on the ground with his finger. When they kept on questioning him, he straightened up and said to them, "Okay, which one of you doesn't have any sin? Let you, who is without sin, be the first to throw a stone at her." And he bent down and started doodling in the dirt again. Remember, think about what you're feeling as the woman. In just a few short moments, the first rock could hit you. And now you're still sensing that you don't have a lot of clothes on, or that you've been humiliated in front of all these people. They've made an accusation about you in front of everybody. And you're humiliated, destroyed because of what just happened. And Jesus doodling in the dirt. And then all of a sudden, you hear a rock hit the ground. Probably the older people first. Gray-haired guy drops his rock on the ground, turns around, walks off. Then another one, and another one, another one. You hear all these rocks hitting the ground. You don't know what to think. Maybe they're just bad shots. That's not true because you didn't feel anything. They're dropping them on the ground. At this point, verse 9 says, those who heard began to go away one at a time, the older ones first, until only Jesus was left with the woman still standing there. Everybody's gone. They all left. All the rocks are laying all over the ground, and everybody's gone. Just Jesus and this woman. The crowd that humiliated her is gone. And when he talks to you, what do you see? What Redeemer do you see when he talks to you? When he gets up off the ground and you look him in the face, what do you see? Ladies, guys, put yourself. What do you think she sees? Does she see the rage and the anger, or does she see tear-filled eyes? Because he feels so bad for her. And he loves her so much. He doesn't love the sin. He's going to tell her that in a minute. But he's so consumed with how she must be feeling and how horrible it must be. And he's not going to add to it. And he says, woman, where'd they go? He straightens up and he said, woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you? Where are all these animals? They were screaming and hollering for you. Where are they at? No one. No one. Then neither do I condemn you, Jesus declared. Go now and leave your life of sin. I remember Diana sitting right there. We baptized her about 3 weeks ago, right? And I remember when she came up out of those waters, and I remember the response, and I knew she just saw that Jesus. That's the Jesus she saw. Not the one with the stone heart. That one. And what I was told is in the back, she cried even harder in the back than she did up here. Y'all saw her up here. Y'all didn't see her back there. Is that not right, Ann? Ann and Alyssa were back there with her, and she said she was bawling back there. You know why? Because she came face to face with the real Redeemer. Not a let's make a deal one. She's done let's making deals. She's done rubbing rabbit's foot and saying, some good luck today, maybe. She's done with that. She's done with committing to a cross around her neck. She decided to put a cross on her back. She saw the real Redeemer. She saw the one that this lady saw. And if that's not the one that you're serving today, I feel for you. Because the one that you're serving today, if it's not this one, can't save your life. If it's about going to church on Sunday, doesn't make any difference where we go. We'll just go anywhere. Doesn't matter. God will accept everything. No, he won't. No. He's pretty clear he won't. If it's just, if I'm going to be a good person, I made my New Year's resolutions. I messed up on about half of them so far. That one's not going to work either. And that one that's in a statue, that ain't going to work either. You're going to serve the one that says, I love you in spite of you. I'll love you forever. I will save your life. That's the one that we need to serve. And if you've decided that your Redeemer's good enough and it's not that one, then it's not good enough. It's not. You have a responsibility to say, you know what? I'm going to start following the Savior that woman saw. Because that one can really save my life. What do you think happened to her afterwards? What do you think happened to her? She walks off into obscurity. We don't ever see her. We don't see her much anymore. What do you think happened to her? You think that changed her life? You think? You know what I know? I don't know her. I don't know what, but you know what I know? When I've seen people come face to face with that guy, truly come face to face with that guy, you know what I've seen happen? Change their life. Change their life. Walked away from sin, walked away from the lifestyle, changed their lives. Pretty cool, huh? A story like that can resonate so much in the future. My fear this morning is, as we give an invitation, my fear is that you're going to continue to serve a Savior that can't save you. And you're going to miss the Savior that she saw. You're going to continue to serve the Savior that has a stone heart and stone eyes, can't fix any of your problems because he's not real. That's my fear. I want you to truly ask yourself, is my Savior that Savior? Is that my Redeemer? Because if my life's not changing, then maybe I need to reevaluate who my Savior really is. You know, we've got opportunities every single day to follow the risen Savior. Hebrews chapter 12 says that Jesus went to the cross with joy. That's what it says. Not joy because of the pain. We know about that because in the garden he prayed that it would go away. But the joy of what he knew was coming next. That we would be here. And at the end of chapter 11, it says all those people in the Old Testament never saw what was promised. And they only have it because of us. We serve a risen Savior. We serve a Savior that loves unconditionally. We serve a Savior that can weep, who is touched by our infirmities, who loves and who hurts with us. And he's not here to make a deal with you. He's here to demand your life. Demand you to stand up and say, I'm going to serve this Redeemer because he's the only one that can save my life. I've tried everything else. Nothing worked. I'll try him. And then go back and read John chapter 8, verse 1 through 11. And ask yourself, is that the guy I serve or not? And look in his eyes, maybe for the first time, and let him share with you who he really is. Let's stand and sing.